When you're doing bead setting or gypsy setting, any faceted stone really, you need to see what you're doing. Optivisors or strong reading glasses. You need to be able to see the difference between a point burnisher and a beading tool. At first glance, these look the same. But on close inspection, this is actually hollow, and this is a burnisher. It's rounded and smooth. We're using a number 2 onglet graver, and you need to test the sharpness of the graver. Just stick it, basically just touch it to your thumbnail. If it slides across, it needs to be sharpened, because it should just stick in. It needs to be that sharp to work effectively. So we're pushing our prepared metal over the stone, and if it's the right size, it'll stay in. And if it does, half your job is done. Now, what I'm going to do is come back here and push on the edge of something that doesn't have a stone in it to show you the technique. Because if you slip once and hit the stone, stop at that point and resharpen your graver. It'll be too dull to do anything with. So get your technique down first. I'll zoom in. What you're going to do is come back about 1 millimeter at a fairly steep angle, bury the tip of the graver, push and wiggle, and when you get to there, lift it up. Now you can see that the edge of the hole has actually deformed. It deformed before I lifted the bead up. So after you get all 4 of those spots, then you go in with your beading tool, follow the line of the graver in, lift it up over the little bead, wiggle it, and you've got a nice little decorative bead. That doesn't hold the stone in, but it looks pretty. Now, another technique for doing this is to just put the edge of the end of your graver about 1/2, 3/4 of a mil away, lift it straight up, push straight down, wiggle it, and you can see how it basically did the same thing. It pushed the edge of the middle, and what that does is it gives you a bead, but it doesn't give you the line going in. Either technique is okay with me. Make a piece of metal, cast a piece of metal, get the right thickness, use sterling silver. I think it's a pointless exercise to use base metal because you never set a faceted stone in base metal. It's quite easy to cast a piece, and you just roll it to the thickness. It doesn't have to be sanded or anything, but it does have to be annealed before you start trying to set the stone. Practice just running your bead right up to the edge of a piece of metal. And when you get to the point where you don't break through, then you can set your stone. Your practice piece is never a waste because we can always melt it down and recast it. So make a practice piece, do plenty of practicing, and then make a piece of jewelry with a set stone. Now, one of the reasons you need to be able to see is you have to be able to see that little edge. So you should, when you're doing gypsy or bead setting, you should always be able to see a line of metal above the girdle. If you can, and if it's a good fit, you don't have to do much to be able to set the stone.